Okay, so this week we are wrapping up our month of July with you have the power, with our theme of you have the power to grow, and this is being our recap week. So this month we've sharpened our focus on growth, and we've looked at self-discipline, motivation, and our relationship with media and also play. We viewed these aspects through the lens of the elemental world and our capacity to bring in the elements that we need to create the state of being we wish to generate. So if you remember from week one, we were talking about the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. And there's a fifth element also referred to as space, because we all need space to grow. And that all these elements are part of nature. And we have these elements within us. And the transformative qualities of fire, for example, like fire turns our, raw food into cooked food, or, can transform fire log into ash. So there's transformative qualities of fire, and that's like kind of that's the motivation. When we talk about that week was self-discipline and motivation. Fire is like that transformative power of motivation, fiery qualities. But there's also the flow qualities of water. Sometimes we have too much fire. And so we can just start to practice being aware of what qualities we have within us, what of those elements are present, and what we need to bring to that to support us. All of nature is made up of these elements, and the nature of nature is to grow, to thrive. And so it can support us too. So bringing this perspective of balancing the elements can be a useful tool in creating that. So when we generate the state that we decide, state of being we desire, we become like human generators, like the generator in your car. It motivates us in the direction of our dreams and to be able to live our best life in alignment with our deepest values and our joys. So vroom, vroom, vroom. So that kind of pulls on our last week of play, that idea of playfulness. And we'll bring a few elements of that as well in here. So let's start our practice this evening with our breath awareness. And then we're going to go through several different breathing practices that we did throughout the month. And I invite you just to notice. We'll pause between each one and really notice the impact of that breathing practice on your body mind system. Okay, so let me just make sure I got this. Okay, so let's start with with breath awareness, and then we'll move into bellows breath or breath of fire, depending on how much fiery energy you need. And then also breath of joy, and then the elemental breath. So I invite you just to find a comfortable position. Let your eyes softly close. Or you can just cast the gaze down and in front of you and start to tune into the breath. And just noticing without any judgment how your breath is in this moment. If it feels choppy, or if it feels like there's a quality of flow and ease, just notice. So no judgment, celebrating our success of just showing up and noticing. Because until we're aware of it, we can't take care of it, right? It's pretty hard to change what we're not aware of. So, and then not forcing change, but inviting a quality of ease into the breath, into your breathing. So it's inviting the breath to maybe slow down or move a little deeper, so that as you breathe in, you feel the belly expand. And as you breathe out, you feel a belly draw in. Just aware of the breath. And so we'll actually start with the elemental breath. And because we're already breathing in and out through the nose, right? So just continue breathing in and out through the nose. And this breathing practice corresponds to the earth element. So it's nurturing. It offers solidity. It's very grounding. So you just might notice that the earthy qualities of this breath. And the movement associated with this breath is like spreading horizontally. So like the ground beneath you, like there's this solid ground beneath you. So just noticing and maybe just touching in with that earth element, that earthy qualities, as you breathe in and out through the nose. Feeling the bony parts of your body, even the teeth and the ground beneath you. Now we're going to shift to the breathing with the water element, which is inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. The qualities associated with water is fluidity and flow, purifying, life-giving. And the movement associated with it is downwards. Like water always flows downhill, right? It always wants to return to the lowest point, to earth. So earth and water work well together. The earth becomes kind of the structure of the container for water. So again, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And maybe even touching into those watery parts of you. After all, we are 80% water. The parts of us that knows flow. And if it's supportive for you, maybe even finding a little flow in your movement. Just a little sway if that feels good. And just feeling the support of the healthy qualities of water, how it's purifying and cleansing, offers us flow and fluidity. And then we'll shift our awareness to the fire element. So it's inhaling through the mouth and exhaling through the nose. And it might feel a little backwards or awkward to breathe that way. Just experiment with it. Bringing in that fiery quality, which is enthusiasm, the ability to transmute or transform. And fire has this movement that goes upward. Like every fire burn, builds like an upward. So feel that sort of upward enthusiasm and how that shows up in your body as you breathe in through the mouth and out through the nose. And then we'll shift our awareness to the element of air. So it's inhaling and exhaling from the mouth in a very light inhale and exhale. And the quality associated with air is freedom and releasing, and it has kind of a zigzag movement. Like if you could see the smoke from a candle flame, if there was wind, how it would move. That's the air element that moves that smoke lets us see how the air moves. So breathing in and out through the mouth. Sometimes it's just hard to do. Just noticing. And then just letting yourself to return to any one of those elements, whether you choose the way that breath felt or that you want to bring in more of those qualities. Feel free to return to earth was in and out through the nose. Water was in through the nose and out through the mouth. Fire was in through the mouth and out through the nose. And air is in and out through the mouth. I almost can't ever get enough of the earth element. It seems like my go-to, what my body longs for or craves, is often more grounding. So the earth element is what works for me, but you decide what works for you. And just notice how that little sequence of breath practices, how that feels in your body and in your system. And we're going to move from there to go on to bellows breath. Bellows breath does bring a little, and breath of fire, its sister, brings in a little bit more of that fiery energy. So sometimes when we need a little motivation or a little energy to work towards our goals or dreams, bellows breath or breath of fire can be really useful tools. So, and breath of fire can be done a number of, or I'm going to move back just a little bit. Bellows breath can be done a number of ways. And so one of the ways I like to do this one is to reach up, nice strong in breath, and then an active out breath. Now this doesn't correspond to the elemental breath that we just did because we are breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. So that was a different sequence, but this is as much about that movement of the action with it. And if you wanted to experiment with that fire breath, you could inhale through the mouth and exhale through the nose. So another way to do bellows breath is like bringing the arms wide like a bellows for a fireplace. It's like, so in breath wide, out breath as you come to center. And you might start to feel it's generating a little bit of energy. The energy of fire that transforms maybe how we came to the practice this evening. Good. And then just pause and notice. Just notice. We did 2 different forms of bellows breath. And so you can repeat one of those, or you can do a little bit of breath of fire with me. This gets a little more fiery. So, and that is drawing navel towards spine. And we'll do that with a little bit of movement. So you're going to round the back. So it's an active out breath, navel towards spine. And it's actively breathing out through the nose. So we'll start just with the breath and then we'll add some movement to it. Breathing in and then active out breath. So it becomes kind of a passive in breath, active out breath. And breath of fire is a real energizer. And it's even said that if you do breath of fire for 10 minutes, it's like running a mile. It can be a real energizer. And even from just doing a few rounds of breath of fire, you might notice like, oh, I always feel like a little more clarity, a little more brightness. It's like my eyes can like take in more and my energy feels a little brighter. So it's like bringing that fire, that inner light to our being with breath of fire. So, okay, we're going to do one more breathing practice here. And this one is called breath of joy. And put this down so I can see. And okay, so breath of joy is going to be like conducting an orchestra. So it's like you're going to bring the hands up in front of you and the 3-part in breath. And to the side, in breath, and again in front of you, in breath, and then with the out breath, bowing in with a ha. Okay, so this one's kind of a fun one, and you can notice what kind of energy it brings to you. If it's fiery, more watery, more earthy, or more air. Okay, so ready. And 2 more. And again, noticing how that feels. So which element shows up for you? When I do that, I feel a quality of flow. So it's just like the hands moving and that active breath. It gives me like a little bit of ease and flow. So, and that's what the breath of joy, that it's a little bit playful, that you're like conducting an orchestra. So love breath of joy. Anyway, so let's just pause again and notice, close the eyes, just notice the impact of the breathing practices on you. And in this moment, I will share some affirmations and you can choose to adopt, as always, one of these or create your own. I love to learn new things. As a result, I see that I am growing. And the next one, I'm a human generator. I generate states of being that support me to live my best life. Great. So now we're going to go back to that breath of fire a little bit, and we're going to put some movement with it, okay? And you can go at a pace that feels right for you. So, okay, let's see if I can adjust that. So we're going to do, I'm going to move back just a little bit so you can see. And we're going to start to move the spine. I'll turn a little bit sideways so you can see. We're going to move the spine. And this is called Kundalini Camel Rider. Actually, I think it'll work if I just tip this down just a little bit. So Camel Rider, the spine is going to move like this. So the head stays more or less straight, but we're going to add that breath of fire with it. So in breath, arching back, out breath, navel towards spine. And then pause again to just notice how you feel. Notice where you feel the energy in your body. Awesome. And then as you're ready, we're going to move on to the next one. And this one will bring the hands to the shoulders with the fingertips pointing forward, the thumbs pointing to the back, or wherever it feels comfortable for you. We're going to lift the elbows, and we're going to twist to the left, breathing in, and twist to the right, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And then coming back to neutral, pause, release, and just notice. Just notice what these movements, how they feel in your body, how they support you, what kind of energy they bring in. So if there's anything I could wish for is in conveying this information to you is to know that you have the capacity to choose what states of being you want. The elements are just a model that help us to see it that way. But what kind of energy do you need? What kind of energy do you want in order to move in the direction of your goals, your dreams? And so we can focus on how these different movements and breathing practices impact our being and our state and how we feel energetically, and put those in our toolbox. Like put those in the back of your head, like, oh, or tuck it in your back pocket so that, oh, when I need a little energy, I can do this a few times, or I can do this a few times, whatever, or breath of joy if I want to bring a little more flow quality in. But so those are suggested, like flow is how I experience it. Maybe you experience it differently, or so paying attention to how it feels for you and trying it on. Okay, so the next one we're going to try is a forward fold, like a waterfall. So bringing us a little flow energy in. You can do this seated, you can do it in a chair, you could do it standing. It's really up to you. So I'll do this seated, and we'll just bring the legs out, just bring the legs out in front, and we'll just bring the arms out and up. Nice in breath. And then exhale and fold forward. And then kind of flow up. But you could do this standing if that feels better for you. Just letting yourself flow and breathe and be. And this next time, as you fold forward, wherever you are, just pause there and feel as if, like, if that image supports you, a waterfall washing over you. And some steady, deep breaths. And if it's helpful, just imagine that
washing over the back of your head, just relaxing the back of the muscles on the back of the neck and the head. And then as that feels complete, slowly uncurling, coming upright. And then pause to just notice the impact of that movement on your body. As subtle as it may be. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of the archer. So we did this early on in the month with focus and determination. And so you can do, again, this standing or seated. And I'll do this on the chair seated. Okay, so you're just going to draw one leg down. The one leg's going to stay to the part of the chair, or the leg closest to the back of the chair is going to stay on the front edge of the chair. And then your opposite leg drops down on the front. You're going to send that leg back. Good. And then reach the same arm out. So you can do this standing if you prefer. And then bring that back arm forward like you're going to pull a bow. Draw back in your bow, focal point for your eyes. We'll add the element of play a little bit, a little sound effect here. Okay, reach back, grab another arrow. Good, draw back. And release. Draw another arrow. This time, think of it with an intention. What is it you want to focus on toward your own growth, toward what you want to create in your life? What's the target out there in front of you? Draw your arrow back, and what is it that arrow represents for you? What is the one tiny thing you could do to focus on your target to support you? Ready? Let go. Last one. Draw another arrow out of your back. Reach back, draw back. Target, maybe there's one other time. Think of the smallest little thing. Let it come. Awesome. And then we'll do that in the opposite direction. So we'll turn around, come to the other side. Put that front edge. Inside leg to the front edge of your chair, drop the other leg back. Good. Reaching forward and reaching back. Good. And then you're going to draw back. Archer pose. Okay. Reach for another one. You got another target over here. Maybe there's some other aspect of life that you want to focus on. What are your goals, your dreams? What area of growth are you working towards? Okay, reach back. Tiny little goals help make it more achievable, right? Last one. Draw back and release. What's your target? Awesome. So we brought a little bit of that element of play in again too. All right, so it's hard to do this with a group here, but from here. But I'm going to invite you to think of a color, and let's do this for relaxation, actually. Let's go ahead and set up for relaxation. And take your time to set yourself up well. Find whatever comforts you need, if you like to have something under your knees, but I really encourage you to, get yourself to be in a place where you can stretch out long, whether it's on the floor or on a bed, rather than like kind of curling up in a recliner.
which can be fine if that's all you have as an option. But if you're in a place where you can kind of stretch out, that would be awesome. Give yourself the gift of time to relax and let yourself be. And then we're going to do a little meditation that's a play with colors and elements. So once you are settled, let's let the eyes softly close and begin to invite in a feeling of relaxation. And tuning into the breath. And letting each out breath support you with a little more letting go. So exhale. In breath, bringing in renewed energy. Now I invite you to call in a color. And whatever color shows up for you, just kind of trust your intuition, a sense of, subtle sense of, what color appeals to you? Or maybe you see a color behind closed eyes. And you don't have to offer it any meaning, but just what color would feel good for you. And then invite it in, and however you want to take that color in. Maybe it's like raindrops of color. Maybe it's a wave of like a water energy color. Or maybe it's like a smoke of color that just kind of permeates into you. And just receive the beautiful benefits of this color. And just feel it move, wash over you, fill you, nourish you, and support you. And then whenever that feels complete, is there another color that you would like to welcome? And again, kind of trust your own inner guidance for whatever color shows up, whatever pops into your mind. As soon as I said that, I got a color that showed right up for me. But you might not, and there's nothing wrong with that. You might think of a color, or you might have a whole rainbow. But in the spirit of play, we're going to welcome the colors. And maybe your color has a little message for you. Your color or colors has a little message it wants to offer you. A gift of healing, a gift of energy, of support, some healthy aspect of the color. Awesome. And now we're going to play a little bit more with the elements. So I invite you now to welcome in the earth element, to feel the bony parts of your body and the teeth, and feel your connection to the ground beneath you. Even though you might not be on the earth, it's all supported by the earth. So where our body meets that floor. And so if it's helpful, you might have the image of soft grass or a forest floor. Tree roots. Or even dirt from the garden, nice rich soil. Whatever would be helpful, supportive for you. It's really feeling the earthy quality within you and how earth supports growth. And earth has that sort of downward, spreading horizontally, grounding quality. Space, room to grow. And just enjoy being in this earthy quality. You might bring in that elemental breath again, breathing in and out through the nose. And perhaps in this time, Earth has a message for you. What healthy, supportive message might Earth have for you? Be a word, a phrase, and it might be nothing. Nothing at all, and that is perfectly fine as well. And then we're going to move on to the water element. And tuning into those watery qualities in us. That watery quality in you. The fluidity, the flow. You might even feel the pulsation of your heartbeat in your body. That's water quality. That's the water element working in you. The lymphatic system, the digestive system has a water quality to it. We are, after all, 80% water. And if you like, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. As you tune into this water element, this purifying and life-giving and cleansing element that offers fluidity, flow, and life. Virtually all of life relies on water. So just feeling into that fluidity. And you might even imagine yourself by a body of water. It might be a stream or a pond, a lake, the ocean. It might even be a bath or even a glass of water. Just appreciating how this element supports you. And if water could talk, what message, what healthy, supportive message would water have for you? And thanking yourself and the water element for its support, we're going to move on to fire. And if you like, breathing in through the mouth and out through the nose, or continuing breathing in and out through the nose, it's up to you. And feeling into the fiery qualities in you. So fire lives in us as our passion, things that light us up. It also lives in us as our digestive fire, our ability to transform our food into energy. It also lives in us as the spark of energy, the spark of enthusiasm. And fire has a movement that moves upward. So think about there's a lot of fire energy at like a ball game when somebody scores and all the energy goes right. So even though there's not a physical fire, that's the quality of enthusiasm and energy. And so if it's supportive, having, holding an image of healthy fire, like the light of the sun, or the warmth of the sun, or a candle flame, a beautiful fire in the fireplace, campfire. And how mesmerizing it can be to watch the dance of flames. It's on a healthy balance of fire. Now, in this healthy balance of fire, the fire could speak. What supportive message would fire have for you? Around enthusiasm or transformation, or your ability to utilize energy, digest ideas. And we'll thank ourselves and the fire quality within us, and that fire element, as we then move on to the air element. And if you'd like, inhaling and exhaling through the mouth. So tap into that air element. And the air element has this quality of freedom, spaciousness. Think about what it feels like to step outside and get a breath of fresh air. It also has this quality of kind of releasing into space. And that zigzag movement, air is always moving in different directions. And so if it's helpful for you, how do you hold the image of air? It might be where you experienced a breath of fresh air. And some of the other elements may play in here. So maybe it's by a mountain stream or by another body of water. All of life is dependent on this air element. Just enjoying this air element in you as every time we do breathing meditation, we're focusing on the air moving in and out of our body, in and out of our lungs. So you might just focus on the breath moving in and out of your body. Another aspect of the air element is the sense of smell. So breathing in might be remembering a time when you breathe in and smell the flower. Just enjoying and feeling this air element. And air in the form of the breath has this quality of nourishing us with the in-breath and releasing or letting go with the out-breath. And so if air could offer you a message, what would you be receiving from air? What would air like to give you? Or what would air carry away? What would you let go of, give to air, to recycle and repurpose? So if air has a message, what it would like to draw away from you that you could release or to receive. What message does air offer? One last time, just kind of revisiting each of those elements, feeling the wholeness that is you, the earthy parts of you, and the ground beneath you, the watery parts of you, and that image of water, and the fiery parts of you, your passion, enthusiasm, and the airy parts of you, the breath. And just appreciating the wholeness that is you. And all of the elements of nature that make up you and support you. And when you're ready, begin to bring your awareness back, wiggling the fingers, toes, bringing some gentle movement into the body. And when you're ready, finding your way back to seated.